Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another episode of the Arsenal News Show. Join you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us as always and making this a part of your morning routines, even on a weekend. Very much appreciated on a Saturday morning to see you guys up early and ready to talk about Arsenal. Always very much appreciated. Good morning to those in the chat box. Nav getting in there first. Arasilki, Matt G, good morning to you. Steve, Johnny, Carl. We've got Yomi, Kaiser, Olu, Martin, GGTV for you. We've got David and Martin and NSW. Alex. We've got Stevie, Morgie, and plenty more familiar faces I can see in the chat box as well, which is always nice to see our usuals and some unusuals, which is also great. I feel like I never give those who join in like as the stream goes live enough credit either. So good morning to MRM, Jimmy Mac, Louis, N Campbell, Red Star as well. Good morning to people joining us in the chat box too. Van City Gooner joining us all the way from Vancouver. That's brilliant. I mean, very early in the morning, of course. But brilliant all the same. I hope you had a fantastic week. The weekend is, of course, here, which means Premier League action gets underway this week. Let me run you through the fixtures for this weekend. So today, Bournemouth play Liverpool in the early kickoff at 12:30. Everton play Brentford at 3, with Leeds against Brighton, Leicester against Chelsea, Spurs against Forest. And then at 5:30, the one that matters most to us, Crystal Palace play against Manchester City at Selhurst Park. We'll be hoping that Patrick Vieira can do us a favour. Then tomorrow, I'll be at Craven Cottage to watch Arsenal against Fulham at 2 o'clock kickoff in the afternoon, being shown on Sky Sports. Manchester United play at home against Southampton. West Ham host Aston Villa, and Newcastle United play Wolves. They're their midweek action, which for your double game weeks on your fantasy is important. Brighton play against Crystal Palace on Wednesday at 7:30. And at the same time, Southampton host Brentford. Arsenal, of course, will be playing on Thursday in the Europa League, with Champions League action also on for our title rivals Man City, who have to turn around a 1-1 draw in their first leg against RB Leipzig. So interesting amount of football to talk about this weekend. Let's talk about the Arsenal stories first, of course. We begin with the transfer news. I thought we'd start with the transfer stuff first. According to reports out in Brazil, Arsenal are amongst clubs interested in Palmeiras' attacking midfielder Raphael Veiga. It seems that we're interested in all the Vegas. Of course, we're interested in Celta Vigo's attacking midfielder Veiga. Now Gabriel Veiga, of course, and now apparently we're interested in Raphael Veiga. I can't say I know too much about him whatsoever. He's a player that's completely popped up. My coverage of Brazilian football is nowhere near as good as some of the experts we use, but he's a 27-year-old player. So far on 3 goals, 5 assists. Doesn't seem to make that much sense. His contract runs out in 2026 as well. So bit of a strange one. Don't know why Arsenal would be looking at Raphael Veiga, but apparently we are, according to reports out in Brazil. Continuing with the other transfer story of the day, this coming in from Italy, so we can get our salt shakers going in the chat box if we could. Arsenal apparently have been tracking Sacha Boey, who is a 22-year-old French right back who plays for Galatasaray. Interesting career path. Came through at the Rennes Youth Academy before going on loan to Dijon, before then leaving on a permanent deal in the summer of 2021 to Galatasaray, where he has played ever since. He's played 20 games at right back so far this season and has 2 assists for the club. Supposedly, according to Italian reports, Arsenal made a late bid for Boey in the summer, and rather in January, at the end of the January transfer window, when that deal for Ivan Fresneda, as we were being linked to as well, wasn't necessarily happening. But Calcio Mercato, considering that Arsenal apparently will be going back in for him in the summer. Arsenal do have interest in signing a right back, so I'm not going to completely discount this, but personally have heard nothing on the subject. So that's the transfer lines. Gabriel Jesus, he remained in the UK to work on his fitness, despite reports suggesting that he would indeed travel out with the squad on Wednesday to Sporting and to Lisbon. But certainly, it's a situation now whereby we are getting very close. We're getting very close to seeing Gabriel Jesus hopefully back in an Arsenal shirt. Whether or not he'll be involved in the squad by any means on Sunday, I doubt it, but we might get a nice surprise. If not, we're hopefully looking maybe at that Sporting home game for him to be on the bench and get some minutes in the last few moments of the game. That would be great if we could see that. But we need to make sure that we protect him and that we only introduce him into the side when he is indeed completely ready to play. Oleksandr Zinchenko won the Player of the Month for February. He had a fantastic month, of course, including his goal against Aston Villa, equalising at Villa Park, and went on to be a very, very instrumental figure in a month that saw Arsenal turn around their bad run that included those games against Everton, Brentford, and Man City. Zinchenko heavily involved in turning around Arsenal's fortunes and very worthy, I think, of winning that award because he was absolutely fantastic. Now, Leandro Trossard is said to be unlikely to return before the international break. There are suggestions that the injury is not serious and that he could even still be available for Belgium during the international break should they choose to call him up. But he is, however, unlikely to be back for Arsenal for any of the games prior to the break. This obviously means that he will be unavailable for the game against Fulham this weekend. Also for the Sporting game and the Crystal Palace game on the following Sunday, March 19th. Hopefully, he'll be back for Leeds on April 1st when we post them at the Emirates. So hopefully we get him back at the club very, very soon. But it seems unlikely he'll be available for Arsenal for that Sporting game or that Crystal Palace game either. So he's ruled out for those fixtures, it seems, which is a disappointment. But it could have been a lot worse, a lot worse. And lastly, our headline story of the day, the FA have deemed us worthy to celebrate our goal in the 97th minute against Bournemouth, and there will be no charge for the celebrations that we witnessed on that fateful day last weekend. I mean, I personally, sitting in the stadium, could not believe what I was seeing. It was despicable. It was terrible. There were players smiling all over the place. We cannot have this. I'm surprised and shocked and disappointed. The FA have done nothing to quell this excitement. It's bad. It must stop and mustn't continue. Says the mind of a madman. I don't think this is how this was even a story. I don't know. I don't know how you could look at celebrations and think, yes, that needs to stop. No, none of that, please. None of that, please. I don't get it. It's mad. Oh, the world is going crazy. Well, if you want to bring yourself back down to earth tonight, a little bit later than usual, probably around 8 p.m. I need to confirm the time, and I will, of course, let you all know on Twitter and on social media when we'll be doing this. But we'll be doing our preview show today for our game against Fulham tomorrow in the Premier League. Looking forward to my first time at Craven Cottage tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to getting down across to West London to witness Arsenal, fingers crossed, continue and regain. I'm imagining it's going to be regaining a 5-point lead because I'm not holding out loads of hope for Crystal Palace today. But I'm going to try to be optimistic. They're going to win. Patrick Vieira is going to pull a masterclass at Selhurst Park today and nick some points off of Manchester City. That's what we're going to keep, hopefully, in our minds going into this game. But yes, you can check out our preview show, which will be going live this evening. Now, there continues to be our prize, courtesy of Football Prizes, a signed Gabriel Martinelli shirt. This early bird price has indeed expired, and the tickets are $4.95 a pop. And there are 75 left available of the 199 that went up for sale. If you want to get involved, the link for the competition is down in the description to win a signed Gabriel Martinelli Arsenal shirt from this season. Just by buying a ticket, you enter yourself into other potential prize draws as well for a signed and framed Thomas Partey signed shirt and a signed Eddie Nketiah shirt as well. As long as you get involved, plenty of Football Prizes site credit and a photo montage signed by Gabriel Jesus as well. So do not miss out on the opportunity of winning this prize. Okay, let's move to part 2 and your questions right after this. Now, yesterday, the tickets went on sale for Gooner Palooza, the weekend of the April 21st through to April 23rd. And the podcast also went on sale. Amazingly, all of the VIP tickets sold out in the space of about 25 minutes, which is mad. But I don't know how many are left or available in terms of general admission for those of you that are listening and would like to still come to watch the podcast. But I believe there are still some general admission tickets available. I'm just checking. As of yesterday afternoon, about 6-ish, I think, which to be fair was, about 6-ish. We'd already, in an hour, we'd sold 86 of the general admission tickets, which is mad. So in just a day, we've managed to sell out more than half of the tickets and all of the VIP tickets as well. It's going to be great. And of course, Arsenal Vision haven't actually promoted this yet. We're kind of holding fire on a little bit of that because it's going to go mad. But if you want to get involved, buy a ticket. You can go to the Chicago Gooners website to get involved as well. And there's lots of great stuff going on that weekend, with Arsenal's game against Southampton also happening that weekend too. We don't know if it's going to be Friday or Sunday. It'll depend if Arsenal beat Sporting on Thursday. But if they do, it will be on Sunday. So lots and lots of stuff to be excited about. If you want to get hold of the latest TGT merch, you can also do that. Link in the description to help our non-profit merchandise, which is now on sale. Yesterday, an amazing response. We've had loads of people buy them already. I've actually had to send in a text to warn the company they may want to buy in some more stock because you guys are lapping these up, which is great. We've already made loads of money for charity, for Cancer Macmillan support and the Arsenal Foundation. I'm sure Vinny would be very, very proud of us indeed. Okay, let's go into the chat and take some of your questions then. Lucas says, why aren't the FA charging us for our celebrations versus Bournemouth? We shouldn't be allowed to cheer or have any fun despite supporting Arsenal. It needs to be more fair. You gotta appreciate the irony of it all, haven't you? Aditya says, what's the update on Eddie Nketiah? Still no update in terms of when we might expect to see him back. We haven't heard anything about the details of his ankle injury, but there's no suggestion that he'll be back before the international break, which sucks because we really could have done with it. So we'll have to wait and see if that changes or if we hear anything after Fulham. Mikel Arteta did do a press conference for the Fulham game after the Sporting game. I don't think that's been released yet, but I don't know of any update on Eddie Nketiah at the moment. James says, what is your opinion on the potential stoppage time rule changes being considered? Firstly, the World Cup style of calculated added time, and secondly, the mercy rule being touted. I'm not sure what the mercy rule is. Is it the stopped clock? Is that the rule, like the rugby style? I like that idea. The only problem with that idea is the time that then extends games by. So imagine for a fact you have a stopped clock situation. What you might see in that case is games extended a really long amount of time, and that can have impacts on transport, can have impacts on, it's just transport basically, but teams fans rather getting out of the ground, that sort of thing can be tricky. And for night games, sometimes you might get situations where the game's extended so long that trains are missed and people are stuck and stranded, or people might leave the game earlier, so the atmosphere dies down towards the end. I like the World Cup style. I thought adding that amount of time was a good thing, and it kind of discouraged time wasting as much as possible. So maybe that's the way forwards, but I like the idea of changing it. It does need to change. We do need to see something introduced because it's simply not good enough. Space Monkey says, since we went hard in on Raphinha in the summer, do you think that Bukayo Saka will evolve into another position? No, I don't think so. I think Arsenal just want competition in all areas of the field. Raphinha can play through the middle, can even play to a far lesser extent on the left. But I think they just want to be able to bring in players that can provide competition. You can remember Saka can also play in other positions too. Hasn't played in other roles too often, but has done. So I think they just want competition in the squad, which is never, ever, ever a bad thing at all. Lee said, who would be your prime summer targets for Arsenal at the end of the season? Declan Rice continues because I don't think it would be Jude Bellingham, but I just don't think we're in a race for him. I would go for Gonçalo Ramos as a potential striker. Love the guy. Spoke to the guy. Absolute legend. And Ivan Fresneda at right back. I think I've liked what I've seen of him, a little bit of what I've seen of him. And yeah, I think that's probably about it. I think that Balogun coming back will depend upon what we do in striker. Obviously, we don't need really Gonçalo Ramos if Balogun comes back. Potentially a wide forward comes in, but it depends on what happens with outgoings. It's going to be a big win. Big one for that. Let's go to Omar says, I can't believe you have turned down the chance to come to LA. Highly disappointed in you. Omar, who knows? Maybe one day we'll do a show in LA. That'd be pretty cool if we could do that. But you know, I don't know what the scene's like out in LA for Arsenal, Omar. You'd have to let me know. Let's go to David, who says, what's your opinion on the Gary Lineker situation? I read, whose piece was it that I read this morning? I think it was Barney Ronay's on The Guardian this morning that I read. Really, really good piece. I love the first line. It says, keep politics out of sport. Ha, yeah, good luck with that, which is kind of something that we've talked about a lot on the channel. In short, I think it's mad. I think it's mad. I think it's absolutely mental that this intervention has happened. I won't go into loads of detail because I know there are a lot of people listening that won't necessarily want to talk about this topic. But just in short, I think it's mad. And I think I have a lot of respect for Ian Wright and others for showing solidarity with Gary on this. So that's my opinion on it if you wanted it. If you didn't, I'm going to move on because I know not everyone will want to talk about it. Daniel says, any news on Martin Ødegaard for the game against Fulham? He will obviously miss the game on Thursday. He's and has been ill. He did travel to Lisbon. I don't know whether or not he's going to be ready. Hopefully it's a situation where they left him out, as they did describe it as. I think they described it as a bit of a precaution, nothing more than a precaution. So yeah, I don't think that I don't think we can worry about him, if that makes sense. I don't think it's too much of an issue. I could be wrong, but I just don't think that it is. So there you go. Let's go. Isoa says, is Arteta considered a world-class manager, or does he need to seal the deal regarding, I assume, the Premier League? I don't think you can class him as a world-class manager yet. I think that is a title that you have to earn by winning titles. Pep Guardiola wasn't a world-class coach until he started winning things at Barcelona, which happened very quickly, in fairness. And, people that suggest that the job he did at Barcelona was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, aided by inheriting what he had there. I'm sorry, it's a load of BS. Go and learn about Guardiola and what he did at Barcelona B and the players that he brought through and the business that they did as well. I think he has to, if he won the Premier League, you're looking at a coach that has got the evidence to go alongside being world class. If he finishes second, there's still a really good argument. A really good argument. I think it comes with consistency. I think kind of the level of kind of a manager and the stature to which you hold a manager to, it comes with time, and it comes with kind of years and years of experience and winning things. And I don't think after this season you could categorically call him that without there being any debate about it. I think there'd be plenty of debate about it. I think personally that you have to kind of achieve things over a period, and then you kind of gain those accolades, if you know what I mean. Like Julian Nagelsmann, right? I wouldn't describe him as a world-class coach yet. I think that he needs to kind of establish himself and continue doing the good things that he's been doing. Now he's at Bayern. He's got the chance to be able to do that. So I think it's about doing things over a period of time and showing that success over a long period of time as well. Let's go a bit more. A lot of you standing with Ian, right? Absolutely. A lot of respect. Camera Up says, have you talked about the leaked kits a few weeks ago? The home kit was really growing on me. Not too sure about the away kit. Apparently the ones that we looked at before, you'd be unsurprised to know weren't real, is what I've been told. But that, who knows how close they were. Apparently they were pretty close to what the real ones will look like, but we don't know 100% what the kits for next season are. Of course, if any news comes out, we'll cover that. But apparently the ones that we looked at before were just kind of inspirations around what the expected kits will look like. So expect some changes from the ones that we talked about a little while ago. James says, what do you consider to be the biggest threat from Fulham on Sunday? Of course, Mitrovic comes up. Manor Solomon's been doing fantastically well. And Willian has been having a decent season as well. They're the main ones you look to. Palinha's not going to be available, which is a big plus for us. we've just got to be clinical. We create chances, we've got to take them. And that's been a big problem, I think, in 2023, is we've not been clinical enough this year. So we need to make sure we start taking those chances. You can assume that the front three is going to be the same as the team that we saw against Sporting: Saka, Nelson, Martinelli. We expect will probably start this game. Odegaard hopefully be back in. Partey starting as well alongside Xhaka. Zinchenko, White, Saliba, Gabriel. Ramsdale is what we expect the team to be. Whether that's what everyone wants to use, we'll have to wait and see what we say in our preview show. I look forward to sorting all of that stuff out. HMM Spike says, Tom, do you dabble in Football Manager? Do we have a Will Still-esque career path for you to look forward to? I don't. I'm not a Football Manager player. I was a FIFA player before. I'm not anymore. I gave it up for the benefit of my mental health. Yeah, I barely game as much anymore. I was playing a lot of GTA recently, and I've recently stopped that as well. Just there's nothing out at the moment I'm really into, and so I'm doing a lot more active stuff like golf, which is getting me out of the house, which is great, and spending time with the family, and also trying to learn more graphical stuff. I really want to become better at video editing and graphics and things like that. So if anyone has any tips or courses they're aware of that help them along that, I am looking at trying to do something in those fields. So yes, do indeed let me know if you have any tips to learn anything about graphics and stuff like that, because I do want to become better. I do want to try and do more different types of content on the channel in the future when I feel confident enough to do it, but I won't do that until I feel confident to do that. So I'm spending time trying to learn more stuff like that. I'm going to end the show there. Slightly shorter show, only because it's a Saturday. I've got stuff coming up this morning, and I'm going to be actually at Charlton a little bit later on this afternoon. Yes, I'm being dragged along to Charlton, but there is a reason behind that from an Arsenal perspective. Nathan Butler-Oyedeji is on loan at Accrington Stanley. Will be starting up front for Accrington, I hope, today. So I'll be able to get a good look at how he's getting on playing in League One on loan from us. So I'm claiming it's a little Arsenal scouting mission. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Much appreciate the support, as always. Do drop a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Do get yourself a hold of one of our brand new TGT home and away caps in help and supporting the Arsenal Foundation and Cancer Macmillan supports. I look forward to keeping you up to date with how things are going on the charity front there. So do get involved. I'll see you again very, very soon. Have a fantastic Saturday. And as always, up the Arsenal.